welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back to the channel. Here today, guys, as we are going to be looking back and looking deeper into Barca's win over Villarreal at the Camp Nou last night. It was 3-0. Robert Lewandowski getting 2 of those. That moved him there already 4 goals clear at the top of the Pichichi race. We're going to be talking about how important that win was for Xavi, how important that performance was for us fans, and especially looking at the display from Frenkie de Jong. But we're not just going to be applauding the performance, we're going to be analysing it, looking at the role that he had in midfield and the unique qualities that he brings to this team. And they were all on show last night. So come on, and let's do it. Because heading into last night's game, guys, we'd all been talking about it before the game, for days even before the game, about the fact that since the international break, Barca had just not looked good in any way whatsoever. We had a lack of cohesion in our team, especially in the attacking areas. We looked out of ideas, we looked disorganised, and it was a team really that looked like individuals. So the question now would be, what changed? What did we bring to last night's game to really give us that more of a team feel? And I think we want to look at this first of all. This right here is the average positions of each of the Barcelona players in last night's performance. And as you can see, that is perfectly balanced. And I mean absolutely perfect there. You've got the 2 wingers in good areas out wide, but also with both of them having the ability to come inside when necessary. You've got the midfielders there spaced out nicely. There's a good combination between all 3 of them there in the middle. The fullbacks are nicely positioned too, and the centre-backs as well. And you compare that there to what we saw against Real Madrid. And that is night and day. That is one team there that understand what they're doing, that understand their roles, that tactically are aware of what Xavi is asking of them, and then the other one, just no idea, no plan at all. And we saw that against Real, we saw that against Inter, whereby in attack, we were simply dysfunctional. Now, I think when you're looking at attack first and foremost, Ansu Fati brought so much to this game, and not only, of course, in terms of his goal, which in the end was a very simple one, but his overall game, he just brings so much to this team, because aside from Robert Lewandowski, we need somebody else who's going to bring that goal threat. We need somebody else who the opposition defence is thinking, we've got to worry about him. We have to put attention there towards him because he can score. He can make something happen. And Villarreal had to be wary of Ansu. That opened up naturally there. More space then for Lewandowski. And it's no surprise that with somebody like that alongside him, Lewandowski was able to enjoy a much, much better evening. However, I think it's only right and I think it's only fair to also look at Ferran Torres, because obviously he was over on the right-hand side. And with Ferran, for me, there's still so much that he can improve on. There's so much more that he can do, you know, given chances, given opportunities, given confidence. But one thing you gotta say, guys, again, he looks so much more comfortable on the right. It's another player here that we're talking about who looks like he really belongs on that side as opposed to over on the left. And I thought it was interesting after the game because Xavi came out there and he said Ferran is the best in the team right now, the best that we have in terms of pressing from the front. And I think that's really important because many people will say, oh, well, we're not having a player in the team just to press well, just to understand the game well. We need somebody there who's dynamic, who's exciting, who can do things out wide, who can do all these different things. But pressing is key at Barca. Winning the ball back in good areas. We saw it last night. It sets the tempo. Your defence starts in that forward line. And if one player's not doing it, everybody else is going to follow. So I think Ferran there, he does set the tone to be intense, to actually hunt the ball down. His positioning has always been very, very good indeed. And like I say, there is more that he will and needs to do, but they were better signs. And you can certainly see what he can bring and what he can add to the overall team. Then you've got to talk about Xavi, because I thought last night he had a very, very impressive performance once again. I liked his positioning also there. Xavi clearly wanted him to be closer to Robert Lewandowski, to try and link up there between the two of them. I also thought Xavi linked up well with Ferran on the right-hand side as well. So Xavi playing well and doing well. And also today, Xavi has added another individual honour to his ever-expanding cabinet, adding there the Golden Boy Award now to the Copper Trophy that he won earlier on in the week. He continues to showcase his talent week in and week out in this team. And what about Jordi Alba? Because he is another one I feel that last night was given an opportunity by Xavi, had a chance to come into the team and show what he can do, and you know what? He did. He did show us there plenty of good things down the left-hand side. And also there, when you're talking about Ansu, I think Alba and I think Ansu, they complement each other well on that wing there. Because obviously you've got Ansu, he's often going to cut inside, he's going to make inverted runs. And then you've got somebody like Alba, he loves that space. He would much rather there run into all of that vacated space. Or for instance, if that was Dembele or Rafinha, that space wouldn't be there. So Alba there works very, very nicely in that position. You've got Pedri on that side as well, who found Alba in some brilliant positions, good energy up and down that left. And that's what we want to see, because that was a very different Alba last night than what we saw, for instance, against Rayo on the opening day of the season. That was when Xavi felt that Alba simply wasn't there. He wasn't at it. His energy and intensity wasn't right. And I think Xavi wants a response. And Alba, to his credit and in fairness to him, provided that last night. And I'll just say it once again, guys. There is no way at all that Jordi Alba should be behind Marcos Alonso in the pecking order at left back. Speaking though of defence, well, we have to mention, we simply must mention Jules Kounde. Because let's just put this here into some perspective. He returned from his injury problem earlier and sooner than he should have done. He coped brilliantly, to his credit, in El Clasico. Imagine there, coming back from injury, being thrown into El Clasico. He did really, really well. Then just days later, just a matter of days on from that, you're in again, and what a performance it was from him last night. We are looking here, I feel, at a very, very special defender, because at times last night, you look at the back line that he was in there, you've got Alba, you've got Alonso alongside him at centre-back, you've got Sergio Roberto at right-back. At times, Kounde was covering for everyone. It was him up against Villarreal, and he was dealing with them. It was absolutely phenomenal to watch him, and I just love the fact that right now, just like with Araujo, we have someone here who can manage space. Because Barcelona, in a game like this, are always going to push very, very high up the field. We're going to leave so much room in behind, and it is so refreshing and comforting to have a defender there who can actually make up that room. He has got the pace, the acceleration to defend, running towards his own goal. And that is very, very key for us. We saw it several times last night. And just imagine, guys, I know that it hurts right now, but just imagine when Araujo is back. He's not there right now, we know, but when he and Kounde can be together at the heart of our defence, and then even imagine when we have a top right back too. Those will be the days, and that is when the business, the serious business, will be underway. But what about this man? What about the performance last night from Frenkie de Jong? And it was absolutely not just a perfect performance, but the timing, it is impeccable from Frenkie here, because we are all saying before the game, we were banging on about it, please, let's replace Busquets and let's bring Frenkie in. And when we do that, give him trust, give him an opportunity like this. And boy, did he take it last night. You look at the stats that he produced. It was flawless. It was a faultless display from him there. Successful dribbles, 100%. Ground duels won, 10 out of 10 there. That is the most of any player in the league this season with 100% won. 10 out of 10 aerial duels, long balls, crosses. His passing was near perfect, and he was not dribbled past a single time in the game. It was absolutely incredible from Frenkie de Jong at the base of our midfield. Xavi said after the game that Frenkie was very good tonight. He said he really enjoyed the game. We knew that he would be the free man in this one. He understood the role very well. He played a very complete game. And Xavi said, I am really, really happy for him. He said Frenkie is the best player in this team when it comes to breaking the lines. He said today he understood what he had to do very well. And he also did very good things in defence. Frenkie was especially good today. So really glowing words there from Xavi, and I hope that certainly he was sitting up and taking notice of what Frenkie was doing. And I do just want to highlight some of those particular qualities, because if you have a look here at Frenkie de Jong at the base of a midfield, you know, Villarreal yesterday defended with two banks of four all of the time. Sometimes they even had the wingers there tucking in there, at times making what looked like a back six, and we had to make our way through that very, very deep block once again. And this is what somebody like Frenkie de Jong can give to your midfield. Xavi here talking about breaking the lines. Now, obviously, at times that could mean with a pass, and I think Frenkie de Jong, you know, he can pass the ball. We shouldn't pretend here like Frenkie de Jong is not capable of picking out a pass in behind, you know, picking out players here with passes. We've seen him do that right throughout his career here. But what he can also do, and what, for instance, Sergio Busquets simply cannot, he can also run. He can not only break the lines there with a pass, but he can also be destructive just with himself running into space. And I want to highlight a little bit more what that means and how Frenkie has really brought that to the table. Because if we take, for instance, the game against Real Madrid, we know here that Sergio Busquets started in that midfield role, and of course many times throughout the first half in that game he was getting on the ball, he was comfortable in possession, and we had territorially there camped ourselves in Real Madrid's half. But the problem is, when Busquets is on the ball there, you know you've got to protect against the pass. You know that he's going to be looking here to play balls in here, to play balls in here, and all that Real Madrid did, we saw it, every single one of their players, they just sat off. All they knew that they needed to do, and it was the same against Inter, because they knew that if they set up here, behind the ball, Sergio Busquets, all he's going to do is play it around in front of them. And that's what we did there. There'd be a ball in here, then we'd play it back, and then it would be a safe option. Then we'd go out here, and then again, we'd play it back. Real Madrid set themselves up to make sure that everything was done here in front of them. They knew there was no threat for anybody going in behind. But here's the thing about Frenkie de Jong, because if you are going to say, okay then, well, we're just going to defend it, we're going to sit off you, we're going to make sure here that everything is done in front of us, and we're going to make sure that these two players here, they're not going to get picked out, they're not going to do danger. Well, the difference with Frenkie is that he can pick up that ball, he, if he chooses, can run through you. And that's a very different threat there, to know that actually somebody can hurt you on their own. We saw it yesterday for the third goal, Frenkie literally bursting through Villarreal's midfield. And that's the thing, because once then you know that's the threat, once that Villarreal know that Frenkie de Jong has the ability to do that, then they've got to go and close him down. They have to find somebody from somewhere there to go and make sure that he doesn't have that easy run. Make sure that he doesn't there run through your team. And then in doing that there, somebody going to close Frenkie down, that will leave someone else free. And just by creating there that extra threat, having that different type of threat, that opens everything up just simply by having a different threat, having another weapon in your armory. That's what he brings. And I just think overall, guys, that following on from that performance last night, seeing what we did, especially in the first half, you know, when we were all out, when we were intense, when we really were going for Villarreal, the key now for Xavi is continuing on that and doubling down, making sure that you're brave enough to say, yeah, those that came in, those who I gave a chance to, they did take it. They did show me their quality. They have shown here that they deserve to stay in the team, and we've got to see that now. We have to make sure that we reward these players, that we don't allow ourselves to slip back into the disorganised state that we were in, about the team that didn't have any connection, didn't have any cohesion. Let's stay on this path. We've seen what it can do. We've seen the quality that we have. And I want to know your thoughts, guys, in the comments down below. Based on yesterday, the performances that we've seen, what would your lineup be heading into Sunday? We're going to be talking all about that, of course, tomorrow in the full match preview. Thank you indeed, guys, for watching today, for getting involved in the comments, of course. And I will be seeing you very soon as we continue to get back on track. Thank you for watching, but until next time, as always, Visca, el Barça.